Oh boy, let me undo my button for this one. Well, it's the Utah Jazz. You know what I'm saying? There's not much negative we could throw into the mix there. Unfortunate, yes, losing to De'Aaron Fox, and De'Aaron Fox, but it was. I don't even want to say it was gonna happen, but it just doesn't surprise me that it did happen. Uh, Obviously, giving up about 50 points to a singular player when they're down three separate people that are in their main rotation, being DeMontis Sabonis, DeMar DeRozan, and Malik Monk, which is literally two starters and their sixth man, is a nasty behavior, but it still ended up happening. So it's nothing too crazy, too over the top. It's just unfortunate. You know what I'm saying? Um, Obviously, giving up 49 points, shooting 16 of 30 from the field, 3 of 4 from three, 14 of 19 from the free throw line, 3 rebounds, 9 assists, 2 steals. He did have 4 turnovers, but when you have 9 assists and you go for 49 points, shooting 53% from the field, I mean, that's a really good game. The next, they did have 3 double-digit scores though. You had Kevin Herter, excuse me, pouring in 18 and 5, shooting 42% from the field off 14 field goal attempts. 12 of those were threes though, and he shot 5 of 12, which was 41%. So not good there. You know what I'm saying? Then you had obviously Trey Lyles step up in the absence of obviously DeMontis Sabonis, and he gave you 17, 3, and 1. Wow, how he managed to play, 35 minutes at the center position and grab 3 rebounds is a wonder to me. Keegan Murray led the team with rebounds with 6, and then you had Kevin Herter with 5, like I said. So, I mean, Alex Len also had 5 in just 13 minutes of action. So there's that, but it happened. It was what it was. He was, by the way, Trey Lyles, 6 of 9 from the field, 5 of 7 from 3-point range. So go figure. We lost. It's okay. It's okay though. We expected it to happen, right? We despite them being down 3 big rotation pieces, I still expected us to take the loss. Seeing us down the stretch being up 1 point for a good, like 3, 4, 5-ish stretch of minutes was pleasant. Didn't last, obviously. John Collins came back to earth a little bit in 32 minutes of action, 6 of 13 from the field. Did miss the 1 3 that he attempted. He only attempted 1 3, which I found was interesting. He was 4 4 from the free throw line, though, had 8 rebounds, 4 being offensive, 2 assists, 3 steals. He had 2 blocks, only 2 turnovers, and 16 points. Positive box score plus minus of 2. Larry Markkinen had a pretty solid shooting night tonight, going 4 of 6 from 3-point range and 6 of 8 overall, which obviously he needed to help boost up his numbers just a touch. Considering the fact that he was shooting like basically 40% from 3-point range, if memory serves me right, and then he was shooting like 37% from the field just because of the low attempt mark from inside the arc and the type of shots that he had taken in that situation. We have him shooting 9 of 10 from the free throw line as well, though. And then he had 5 rebounds, 1 assist, and 3 turnovers, which wasn't great, but he did lead all Utah Jazz players with 25. He had a box score plus minus of a 6. You had Kyle Filipowski getting some starter minutes. They have him on NBA.com listed as the starting 5, regardless of whatever the case that may have been. In his 28 minutes of action, he was 2 of 5 from the field. He did miss the 1 3 that he took, and he was only 5 of 9 from the free throw line, which I found to be a little bit interesting. But he had 7 rebounds, 2 assists, and 3 steals and no turnovers. So even if you look at it from a defensive standpoint, recognizing that he's not a shot blocker, he had a pretty solid game. If you're really hooked on steals, then you love the 3 steals that he got. I'm just glad that he wasn't necessarily a complete cone on that side of the ball. Did provide some length, some resistance at the rim. Was a solid rebounder today. 28 minutes of action, 9, 7, and 2, and 3 steals. I'd say that's pretty good. He also had the highest box score plus minus at a plus 12, which was extremely nice considering uh, how some of these other players ended up playing. And by some of these other players, I meant like Lowry shooting his 75% for the field and having 25 points, including all his free throws. We also obviously had Colin Sexton, 5 of 12 from the field. He was 4 of 7 from three, was overall 4 of 6 from the free throw line, had 2 boards, 2 assists, only 1 turnover. And he actually, nabbed 6 personal fouls. So he was a perre, but he had 18 points, box score plus minus of a 0, which was interesting. Keontae George finally had a good shooting night. It only took, this was his 11th game, I think, 11th or 12th game this year. 11th, because he missed one, I think. So in 31 minutes of action, 6 of 10 from the field, 2 of 4 from the three-point line, and 5 of 5 from the free throw line. That's great shooting if ever I've seen it. And I'm in danger now because if he has 2 more games exactly like this back to back to back, I'm going to have to buy a Keontae George jersey. And I was hoping not to have to. So we'll see, how that ends up panning out. But it might just end up happening, low key. He also had 2 rebounds, just 2 assists, 1 steal, and 1 turnover, which was nice. He had 19 points. Box score plus minus was a -5, though. He was the only starter with a negative box score plus minus. Then you move to the bench, and you have Isaiah Collier hitting his first 3 in a game ever. So now he is 1 of 6 on the season, I believe. Remember, serves me right. 3 of 3 overall today. He hit both of his free throws, had 2 rebounds, 1 assist, only 1 turnover, 9 total points, box score plus minus of a -4. Then it just gets a little bit rockier from there. Jordan Clarkson, 7 of 18 shooting, 1 of 5 from 3, 2 of 4 from the free throw line. So not, that's 39% from the field, 20% from three-point range. Definitely not what we need from him in 30 minutes of action. He did have 3 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals, and 3 turnovers total. He led all of our bench scores with 17, box score plus minus of a -6. And then really it just goes Drew Eubanks, Cody Williams, Johnny, and Svi for all of literally 1 second. So Johnny was 0 of 1 his 8 minutes of action, had 2 turnovers as well. Not a good showing from him. Box score plus minus of a -8. You had Cody Williams in 10 and a half minutes, almost 11 minutes, missed the 1 3 that he ended up taking, and then he had 1 assist and managed 3 personal fouls in just 11 minutes of action. So that was interesting. -6 box score plus minus. And then Drew, like I said, played 15, almost 16 minutes of action today, 2 of 4 from the field, missed both of his free throws, had 4 rebounds, 3 of them being offensive, and then 1 steal, 1 block, and 3 personal fouls. 4 points total. Box score plus minus was a -11, which was the worst on the team, actually. And then another DNP from Bryce Sensabaugh, and then Patty Mills, if you do care about Patty Mills DNPs. I'm more of a Bryce Sensabaugh DNP kind of guy because I don't enjoy watching it, but it happened nevertheless. What's good, Chris? You said the one time I missed your stream and the team won. This game was actually fun. Yes, this game was fun, and like I was saying in the beginning, it was nice to see them actually in the game in the beginning or at the end, I guess. Now, admittedly, obviously Malik Monk, Domantas Sabonis, and DeMar DeRozan were out. So 3 out of their 8, 9 guys deep into the rotation that they like to go. And just quality players overall. So getting about 50 drops on your head by one specific player on great efficiency, 16 of 30 from the field, that's 53.5%, 3 or 4 from three-point range, not great. Giving up 19 free throws to one guy, also not great. But it happened. And I don't know what else to say besides that. Mind you, he did it in only 36 minutes. Not that it actually matters that much, but, 36 minutes. What's good, Tyson? You said fumbled. Consistent key? Yeah. Like I said, if Keontae George ends up with, 3 or 4 straight of these games, I'm going to have to buy a Keontae George jersey. And I didn't think I was going to be able to do that. Didn't think I was going to have to do that. But it is a realistic possibility at this point because he did start out pretty strong. 6 of 10 from the field, 2 of 4 from three-point range, and 5 of 5 from the free throw line. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. Numbers can be skewed to make an argument, but numbers do not lie. And he had a good game today. Didn't have a lot of assists, but, He was efficient with the ball. He took care of the ball. He had one turnover and shot really, 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 really freaking well. Chris, you said we for real got nothing to look forward to this season. This is the it's the new city jerseys. Yeah, that's really all we got. Not gonna lie to you. That's all we got. Obviously, Sexton fouling out wasn't in the cards, but he had a nice shooting night, particularly from 3-point range. You said, but Flag seems to be in view. A lot of the guys seem to be in view. I dropped that video about Cooper Flag, and it's probably one of my better performing videos. I'm realizing that a lot of obvious Utah Jazz fans are going to tune into the videos this year just because of how bad the Jazz are slated to be and how bad they have been already out the gate. So I'm really going to use these weekends to push some content on some other teams. I do need to figure out what team I'm going to do a video about for Sunday. Sunday as in today. I think I might double down and do the Charlotte Hornets again because they're really making me like enjoy watching Charlotte basketball. By the way, they just beat the Bucks by 1 point. Not that it actually matters. It's the Bucks. But, still happened. Giannis in that one had 22, 15, and 12, and you lose. What do you do at that point? Torian Prince gave you 23 points. Oh, man, that's bad. That's ugly. LaMelo 26, Brandon Miller 13, Grant Williams 6. I don't know why he started at the center. Miles Bridges 19, Josh Green 15. You had Diabate with 12 off the bench and Trey Mann with 11. Definitely not ideal. Definitely not ideal. But you know what? It's okay. You said I feel like it's rigged for the Jazz to never get first pick. The thing is, even if they don't get first, as long as they get top 3, I'll be happy, especially considering how deep this draft is. There's a lot of guys that you can make a case for at number 1. You could say a lot of guys are more NBA ready than other guys. And you could sit there and harp on potential to a certain point and say that things really, really matter for certain people. Cooper Flag has more to show me. I don't view him as generational. I think he's a really, really freaking good basketball player. And I love how he hangs his hat on defense as opposed to offense. But offensively, there are some glaring holes that need to get shored up before the end of the college season to make me feel like, oh, yeah, he's a lock at number 1 over all the other guys that have been really, really good and have been really, really talked about. What picks do we even have this year? We have picks that will ultimately end up, well, obviously we control our own destiny with our pick, but the other 2 are supposed to be mid-tier first-round picks. So like 12 to 18, most likely, which is fine. You said Darvin Ham and Prince for real, the greatest love story. A love story like no other. Let me tell you, I've never seen something so ridiculous, but yet here we always end up being, right? At least that's the case with them. But Utah Jazz played a game. It wasn't a great game. Some would argue that despite its entertainment value, it was not even a good game because, you're missing. They were missing 3 guys out of their entire rotation. They're all NBA caliber Domantas Sabonis, offensive hub, defensive wall. You know what? Highball real quick. Kyle Filipowski, what if he ends up being a Domantas Sabonis? I'm not going to say he's going to actually be Domantas Sabonis, but imagine he pans out to be 60% of Domantas Sabonis. I think that would be a really great. Now it'll already be a really good value, but I think it'll be a tremendous value considering he was a 2nd round draft pick. You didn't have to move up or anything for him. 32nd pick overall. You get a guy that could potentially on any night give you an all-star game level performance at his peak. I think that's great return on investment. Great ROI. Haha. It's a great wordplay. You said, man, so what's the deal with Cody? Cody's just not physically capable of competing in a lot of ways. His frame is really getting in his way. And before I knew it was going to be an issue, but the way I saw him play in Summer League, I was like, you know what? He might be able to carve some minutes out and make something happen. And it just hasn't happened yet. Bryce Sensabaugh getting cut down to DNPs is irritating to me, especially when I watch Cody have these struggles. But I also understand that he needs to get the opportunities to make mistakes and just, do stuff. And I think Cody's going to spend a lot of time in the G League. You'll see, obviously, the one and only, what's his name? My brain is being elusive right now. Flip. He'll probably spend a lot more time with the main roster, even though a lot of people thought it was going to be flip flopped. And then obviously Isaiah Collier has been. Today was a really good game for him. 9 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, only 1 turnover. Shooting 3 of 3 from the field, 2 of 2 from the free throw line. Hit the 1 3 that he attempted. This is the type of game that I think he could consistently replicate over the duration of the season, and then we'll see some really impressive numbers for him overall. Chris, you said at this point, I don't even think we're a bad team. I feel like they straight up told him to not play good. The thing is, they shot for the most part, we shot really good from the field. Lowry shot 75%. John Collins was 46%. Flip was only 2 of 5, right? So that's not crazy. Colin was 5 of 12, fouled out. 7 of his shots were 3-pointers, so that's part of it. And then Keontae George shooting 6 of 10 from the field. You got Isaiah Collier, 3 of 3. You got Jordan Clarkson. I guess he was the only guy that was really selling the game for the Jazz today, which isn't good because, you need him to play well so that you can get him up out of there. But it was there, and it happened. The crazy thing about Sexton is so far this season, let me see if I reload this. Will you tell me the answer? NBA.com, talk to me. All right, so it only has 11 games in. Excluding this game, Sexton is averaging 15, 3 and 3 with 2.5 turnovers. He only had 1 turnover tonight, which should help his assist to turnover ratio. He's been extremely efficient with the ball. 2 years ago, obviously, he was in the 48 games he played with the Jazz last year. He had only 2.1 turnovers in 78 games of action so far. In 11 games, he's averaging 2.5. So I think it will go down. Over the course of his career, went 2.3, 2.4, 2.8, 2.8, 1.8, 2.1, and now we're at 2.5. I think that it's reliable to assume that things aren't going to get too crazy. Shooting for the field, he's 45.5% on 11 attempts, and then 39.5% from 3.5 attempts. So pretty solid overall shooting. You have Keontae George this season shooting 33.5% and then 31.5% from 3-point range. So he definitely needed this game. I think it would be an understatement to say that he needed this game. He couldn't live without a game like this. And then, of course, you have Isaiah Collier in his 4 games of action, excluding tonight, putting together 3 points and then about 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 1.8 turnovers. Finally hit a 3, so his percentage is going to go from 0 up to like 17% or something like that. And then he'll just go from there. For me, at least. Any thoughts, any interesting perspectives, or any video suggestions y'all want me to keep in mind? I don't want to take up too much of y'all time because obviously we lost. While it was an interesting game, everybody's chips weren't on a table. So it would be foolish of me to harp on this as if it's a moral victory. I can't remember who the writer was, but they said things were all ugly before they were turned into art. Basically to say, like, in a battlefield, the blood was never beautiful or crimson red. It was just red. It was just warm. In a similar sense, losses like this, they're losses, and you could dress them up and say, "Oh my gosh, so and so played really well. So and so played really well." Right now, to me, it's just a loss. And if it ends up ultimately getting parlayed into a really solid player later on down the line, then kudos to the Jazz and everything like that. But right now, as it stands, I'm not super impressed. If we look at the playoff picture, though, let me see here. In the Eastern Conference, you have the Toronto Raptors at the bottom of the barrel, 2-12, 76ers 2-10, Washington Wizards 2 of 9, and then the Bucks are 4 of 9. You have the Jazz at 3-9 at the bottom of the West, 4-10 at the bottom of the West is the Pelicans, and then 5 of 8 is the Portland Trailblazers. So realistically, right now, because the Jazz have 3 wins, they're technically ahead of the Toronto Raptors and the Philadelphia 76ers. And the Washington Wizards, if you want to go that far. But to me, they're all 4 in the same ballpark. So I think that those are definitely 4 out of the top 5 bottom feeder teams. I wonder if the 76ers are going to right the ship, but I don't really know, considering that we're now like 11, 12, 13 games into the season. Chrissy said, do more trade idea videos on who you think might get traded. I could do that. Yeah, I could do that. For sure, for sure. I think there should be some trades coming up for John Collins. I'm hoping. Let me see. Because he's been playing really, really good. Now, admittedly, he's due $26.5 million, which isn't going to, be easy for teams to stomach. But at the same time, I think that it'll be okay. Trade. Let's see. Nothing too crazy going on. But yeah, I'll definitely be looking forward to dropping a video on some of it. And then we'll go from there. You know what I'm saying? But if there's no interesting thoughts or insights to share, I won't keep you guys up anymore. It's been fun. It's been a pleasure. I wish the game would have ended in our favor, but of course, this helps benefit us in the long run because our objective isn't to win. It's to be productively bad, I guess is the best way to put it right now. But as always, thanks for tuning in live. It's your boy Wraith Hoops. Smash that like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel. I think today I will end up doing a appreciation video for the Charlotte Hornets because they're not actually terrible to watch. They're actually somewhat bearable and entertaining at the same time. And then next season or next week, depending on how Lowry's next game goes, I might make it a Lowry marketing video, and then we'll probably see a trade video from John Collins, and then we'll discuss Jordan Clarkson's misgivings, put mildly, as well as anything else interestingly related to the team. But with that being said, like I said, Utah Jazz, Wraith Hoops, drop a like, comment, subscribe. I'm fumbling like the Jazz did today. Turn on post notifications, become a member, drop a donation, helps for the content. And as always, good morning, good evening, and good night, no matter where you're in the globe watching. Thanks for tuning in. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.